Hey, book lovers, I'm Candace.
And I'm Chrissy. And you've just stumbled into your new favorite book club, Bookalicious Pod.
We're two sisters reading our way through fantasy, fiction, thrillers, and the occasional "what did we just read" moments.
Every week, we break down books chapter by chapter
with deep dives, hot takes, and detours into sisterly side combos.
Think a cozy book club mixed with a FaceTime call, sprinkled with a little chaos.
We don't hold back on the characters we love or the ones we love to hate.
We play games like Read It Like Reddit, Red Flag or Deal Breaker, and have Spotify polls for you to guess along with our plot theories.
If you've got a TBR pile a mile high, including ACOTAR or Frida McFadden,
or just want to feel like you're hanging with your bookish besties, hit play. This is Bookalicious Pod.
We're back.
We're back. Looks like you have a snow scarf on. Like you're gonna go skiing.
I know. It's this blanket. It's green on one side, and then it's like this Sherpa on the other side. I got a slight chill from all the yard work that I did.
Not from the chilling ending of Babel.
I finished the book this morning, and I was bummed out, man.
It was a weird ending. It was.
Bleak.
Did you feel satisfied?
No.
By the ending?
No.
Me either. Very unsatisfying.
I mean,
not very, but slightly unsatisfying.
No, in my opinion, it was unsatisfying, but I think it's because the problems feel very real. The problems feel very relevant, and there doesn't seem to be a very good solution.
Yeah. You're right. That's probably is it. This was the 1830s.
Yeah.
And same.
Same. It's just disappointing.
Yeah. You're right. Maybe that's the point.
I think that was the point. I think a lot of this is like R.F. Kuang, like I think we talked about this before, like working out her own experiences with racism, with life, and trying to untangle it.
Yeah.
And I don't think that she doesn't have a solution for us.
Right. There's not an easy solution.
There's not.
I want my money back for my library rental.
If the ending had been tied up in a nice bow, that might have been inauthentic to the problems that were presented.
Right. I think we'd have complaints if it was a nice bow. Yeah. Yeah. I also have conflicting feelings on whether the book was really nuanced about the themes or whether it was really, if it simplified the themes, which we can get into now or later.
Okay. So I've been like dreading a little bit talking about this because we're two white women, two Lettys. Two Lettys.
That was the worst part. Seeing Letty's arc.
Yeah, you're like, oh my God, we're two Lettys trying to talk about this.
I know, I agree.
So
we should have a disclaimer.
Yeah, I've been dreading this. But have you heard of the term? I looked this up, and I think it encapsulated a lot of the things that I was feeling. Have you heard the term white fragility?
Oh yeah.
I've heard of it too. What do you think it means? Define?
I think it's like whenever a challenging topic like this comes up that pokes at your identity as a white person, says like, hey, there's some problems here. You get like super offensive and you're like super uncomfortable. Is that what it means?
Yeah.
Fragile.
Yes. So, yes, exactly. And I think Kuang is talking a lot about that.
It worked.
It worked. And I think the representation of white fragility is Letty. And even like the professors and things like that. But also just like not trying to, it said like being defensive. It said like disengaging, not making space to talk about it. Or like turning it around and making it about yourself.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that with Letty.
Yeah. Um, and so I was like looking into that, and of course, like you're seeing a lot of these themes. I see a lot of those themes with myself. Like, how am I understanding the book? Is this like me having my white fragility? Is that like why I'm having this strong reaction? And I think part of it is definitely yes.
Yeah, I could see that for myself too.
But one of the things that I saw, and I was like, this is kind of how I'm feeling about talking about the book, is that it kind of puts white people in a little bit of a catch 22. Because what if you do have a non defensive but valid critique? How
Mm-hmm.
do you say anything that goes against, like,
Right.
how am I supposed to say anything different from what Kuang has said? And it's not me having white fragility
Right. And it still be valid.
and it still be valid.
Right. And I guess maybe as the counter argument's like, well, maybe you can only say something valid if you've had that lived experience. But
Well,
like, you have to be able to discuss it. You can't have
I,
every lived experience.
you can't, yeah, you can't have every lived experience. And I think we see even with our characters, Robin, Victoire, Rami, that they're not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't, just because they are minorities and they've had these lived experiences, it doesn't mean that every take that they have on every single social issue is correct.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're people, and like you see that in the book.
Yeah.
But how are we supposed to talk about it?
I think I have a disclaimer. We're 0% experts. We just Googled white fragility.
Yeah.
So,
Guess what the author who introduced white fragility, guess what their name is? It's very
my
guessable based on the book.
Robin,
Robin.
Letty. Oh, it was Robin.
Robin DiAngelo.
Oh,
Female.
interesting.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yes. I just thought
Okay.
that was interesting. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I was like, I don't know. With R.F. Kuang, she's
I
smarty pants.
know. There's gotta be, I feel like I think it'd be really interesting to just kind of like go into the details of the book, like on another podcast. Because I bet everything, all the names were chosen for a reason,
Yes.
the places, like she's put in a lot of details there. And I
Yes.
think it'd just be fun to see all the connections.
I'm wondering if, and open to different ways, but maybe for this book, when we start talking about things, maybe we break it up into things we agreed with and things we didn't agree
Hmm.
with.
Like, are you saying instead of a summary, we just list
No,
lots of
no, no,
things?
no, no. Like as we go through, but if we have like a
Oh,
discussion topic on
I think that's a good idea. I like that.
race or something, like start with like what are all like the points where it's like, yes, I agree with this, all these different things. And then if there's something that's relevant that we disagreed with, we could do that after.
Hmm. I like that. I think that's a good plan.
Okay, cool.
Let's try it.
All right. Well, whew.
Can't put it off any longer.
No, very somber book. Here we
I
go.
know. Welcome to Bookalicious. A happy podcast where we talk about happy things. And usually it's a podcast we choose to chat about books we're reading. And today we're reading a sad book
We
called
are
Babel. I'm
Babel.
Chrissy.
I'm Candace.
We're both sad and we're both hesitant to talk about this because we are unqualified.
Yes, very true.
So, but we're going to do our best.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna
Yeah.
do it.
Comment on things that you want to say about this discussion or join into the discussion. Email us. We'd love to hear from you. Correct us.
Yes, but remember, we're people too.
Yeah.
That'd be
And we've
nice.
already told you we're not experts. So lower all expectations. All right,
Okay,
but we're here.
we're
Okay,
here.
so this is covering chapter 23 to the end of the book.
Okay.
So we left off with Griffin teaching Robin how to shoot a gun, and Robin discovering that he liked the thrill of power that comes with pulling the trigger. We now enter into the final section where everyone dies. That could basically be the
No.
end of the summary. All right. After Griffin and Robin's gun episode, Griffin goes to Glasgow for Hermie's business. The rest of the team stays at headquarters to continue writing pamphlets and prepare for the older students to travel to the city to bring more pressure on voting against the war on China. As they discuss their plans, Letty starts hyperventilating and says she needs some fresh air. In a full Judas moment, she comes back with the police and they kill everyone.
I was so disappointed
I was
in
like,
Letty.
really? That obvious?
Like, we all saw it coming. We all knew it was going to happen. And then it happened
Even more drastically than I thought it would.
even worse. Yeah.
Because she like actively got the police. It wasn't like she was like, I'm
I'm out.
defecting, but I'm gonna like, yeah, do my own thing. And then like they brought her and like tortured her until she gave them up. No, she actively just got the police.
She just said, Doll, I got to run out. I got to do something real quick.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, all right. Yeah, that was disappointing. I have some questions on Letty, but maybe we should finish this scene first.
yeah. Let's finish
And
the
then,
scene.
okay. All right. So the police kill basically everyone except for the squad. Letty tells her friends, so Rami, Victoire, and Robin, that they will be saved if they come willingly, as she points a gun at each of their faces in turn. Then, in one moment, Victoire and Robin lunge at Letty. Rami shoves Robin out of the way, and Letty shoots directly at Rami's heart. Robin is filled with rage and tries to kill Letty, but she escapes, and two policemen capture Victoire and Robin and then bring them to jail and lock them up, each in separate cells. Okay, so do you want to talk about the betrayal scene?
Yes. Can we also layer in the quick epilogue, not epilogue, the quick interlude
Oh,
of
with
Letty's
Letty.
perspective?
Mm-hmm. Um, I didn't specifically write that down, but I could go off memory unless
Just go
you.
off memory.
All right. So yeah, so later on we learn that we hear Letty's backstory, and basically it's her and her brother growing up. Her dad is putting all of the resources into her brother so he can go to Oxford and be a scholar and be a successful businessman, whatever, whatever. Brother doesn't care about school. Letty super cares about school, but all her father wants for her is to marry young and to marry well.
Hmm.
And so basically, throughout her childhood, she works super hard. She like listens to the doorway at all of her brother's tutoring sessions so she can also learn. And then in a turn of events, after her brother dies, she's able to kind of like take his place at
Hmm.
Oxford and tests into Babel. So she gets at Babel and she's like, I am so grateful to be here. What a gift this is. I've worked so hard and like haven't all these other students worked hard. Like we are just so privileged to be here. And she kind of is assuming everyone else is feeling that way.
Hmm.
That it's a gift to be there and it's good to be there. But then when she starts hearing her friends' experiences of actually Babel is an evil institution, she kind of just can't really handle it. And in the end, basically each member of the cohort, they just want to survive. And so the way Letty decides to survive is she's like, I can't be doing this what's it called? Rioting business.
Hmm.
That's where I draw the line. So she said the only way to survive is to turn them in.
Yes. So it was so interesting because it's like R.F. Kuang, by the end of the book, Letty is a total monster.
Yeah,
Irredeemable. Irredeemable.
100% evil.
Like cartoon villain,
Yes.
horrible.
Yeah.
In the interlude, she seemed empathetic. Like I see how she got to where she was going. It seemed like she, air quotes, turned on the friends because she felt like everybody had lost their minds. And she's like, they're going to do something horrible and they're going to hurt a lot of people. And like, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to try to like help them before it gets even more off the rails.
Yeah.
She's the last line it says, but this ended in only two ways: prison or the hangman. She was the only one there who wasn't too mad to see it. And though it killed her and she had to act with resolve, for if she could not save her friends, she had to at least save herself. Oh, I guess I was thinking she was trying to save her friends. But I guess that's her being the full on turncoat.
Yeah. Like I think in that moment is kind of she already turned
Yeah.
evil, but I mean she kind of gets she turns cartoon villain by the end.
Yeah. But there's this other part in the interlude, and I felt like this to me was like why Letty turned when she's like recanting what was happening after finding out about Hermes and everything. And she says, um, this is what like the crew would tell her, but there are larger things at stake, they told her, condescending, patronizing, as if she were an infant, as if she knew nothing at all. It's a matter of global injustice, Letty, the plunder of the rest of the world. She tried again to put aside her prejudices, to keep an open mind, to learn what it was that bothered them so. Time and time again, she found her ethics questioned, and she reiterated her positions, as if proving she was indeed not a bad person. Of course, she did not support this war. Of course, she was against all kinds of prejudice and exploitation. Of course, she sided with the abolitionists. And then it went on and on and on. And I kind of feel like they did talk down to her and were condescending and didn't want to listen to anything that she had to say.
I kind of agreed too. And so this is one of my things with Letty and something that I had seen on some of the reviews I was reading was there's this big question of like if they never trusted Letty for 3 years, because it seemed like they didn't even really enjoy her company from everything we saw. It's
Yeah.
like they never really liked her. But now they're still like telling her all of these deep secrets and not keeping an eye on her when she's gonna walk out the door. Like it just kind of seemed like we didn't get the full picture of the rub between them and Letty. Like I feel like it would have been helpful if we saw Letty and Victoire interacting and like Victoire has to like walk a mile to go to the bathroom or something.
Yeah.
And maybe she brings it up to Letty and Letty just dismisses it and says like, ah, well, it's not that bad. Like if we kind of saw more of those things, because how it is right
Hmm.
now, it's like we're just seeing them, yeah, kind of being condescending to Letty
Yeah.
and expecting her to, I don't know, just kind of change her whole worldview overnight. And I kind of sympathize that that's really difficult, you know?
Yes.
And so yeah, I feel like there could have been greater motivation or just like a deeper description of how all that went down.
Yes. And what I would say is that by the end of the book, because Letty comes up a few more times, and each time it does seem like the crew is like, girl, this is why we feel like this. This is why we got to do it. And every time she's like, I don't get it. Why do you have to
Yeah.
do this? And I'm like, I could understand being so frustrated if I was her friend. And I felt like, and Victoire even says this towards the end, where she's like, I had so much hope for Letty. I wanted her to understand, but it just felt like every time I told her, it was just like in one ear, out the other.
Yeah. And maybe that's how it was for 3 years. And so
And
I kind of get it. If by the end they're just like, you fool. You don't get
you're
it.
not gonna get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can get that. And I think that is maybe a lot of people's experiences. That's also what I was saying, is that people know real Lettys in real life. And it sounds like R.F. Kuang had a few Lettys in her life.
Yes. I listened to this. Did you have a chance to listen
I
to that
listened to it.
interview?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. And it's to me it kind of sounds like RF Kuang had a personal experience with someone or multiple someones who were like Letty.
hmm
And I can only imagine how horrifically frustrating that would be.
Right. Yeah.
Because this book was published in 2022, which means it was written before that, probably 2020. R.F. Kuang is a Chinese American.
Mm.
And during 2020, racism on Asian people, particularly Chinese, was on the rise.
Yeah. That's a good point.
And a lot of like white people were like, oh, like I didn't realize that like racism was so bad or that these microaggressions were happening. And so there was like a lot of like conversations happening. So I could see a world where R.F. Kuang is like talking to her white friends about her experiences. And then every time she's tried to talk about it, they're just trivializing it or not agreeing with
Mm-hmm.
it, not validating.
Yeah, I could see that. You'd want to tear my hair out.
Yeah, and
You
it's
know,
like
you're like, ah.
what do you do with that?
Yeah. Yeah. I know, like I've done all I can.
Yeah.
But if you're not gonna empathize, that's all I got.
But I do agree that it's like Letty has been Letty since the very beginning. It sounds like she's had almost zero character growth, actually. so
Have yeah.
so they knew who she was.
Yeah. Right? So like why and I mean they didn't really want to include her on the secret society actually, because the
No,
three
they
of them
didn't.
were, yeah, talking about things and Letty shows up. And
Yeah.
so I guess what other options did they have? Could they have not included her because they were like, "Are you sure you want to join?" And she's like, "Yes, I'll do anything for you." So like, I don't know. Did they give her too many chances? Did they have another option? Is this
I
the way it
think
had to
they
go?
I think they could have excluded her. I think it
You
would have
think?
been I think they would have had to immediately go into hiding,
Mm. Hmm.
but I think it is possible. Do you think Letty was ready to turn them in the second she heard about the Hermes Society and professor level study? Or was it when they were planning everything out in the Hermes old library where it got too serious?
From her interlude thing, it sounds like it's when they're planning it. And she's like, oh my gosh, there's going to be more casualties. There's going to be more riots. She's like, covering up a murder was already enough. Now we're going to do
Yeah.
more. And that's kind of what tipped her over the edge. But I don't know if she was ever really on board,
Yeah.
you know? So, and then also, I guess going back to like, what if they excluded her? I don't know if I would have liked that message either, because then
Right.
it's like they're extending an olive branch to Letty and they're like, okay, well, maybe you can like be an ally and help us. And and she failed them. But like, I guess if you don't offer that, then it's like, well, how can you expect someone to help you if you're just going to exclude them, you know? Or like to be an ally if,
I guess to me it kind of feels like they never really she never had, in my opinion, like a fighting chance given who she
mm,
was. Given who
mm-hmm,
she was. She never had an opportunity to, well, not opportunity. She had opportunities, but she was never going to like fully change because the friend group didn't really like her. And her biggest motive was looking for like a found family in these
mm,
people. Like she just desperately wanted these like friendships and connections, but like she couldn't, they didn't like her. She annoyed them. She had these
yeah,
microaggressions constantly. Like
yeah,
it was just never going to work.
uh, mm-hmm,
But maybe that's the point.
yeah, yeah. But that's, I know, but that's the uncomfortable part where it's like, that's the point. It was never gonna work. But like, what I do like, what I do appreciate about Babel is like there are other white characters that do like who are allies and help the cause.
Yeah.
Although it is a lot less clear about those characters, because honestly, when I was reading it, I forgot, where everyone was from. It was
Yeah.
only like upon rereading it for the summary when I was like, oh, okay, like Professor Kraft, and I think like Kathy, who was part of Babel, like they were white. But throughout the rest of the story, it's very clear when like white students are about to, turn Robin in or something. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. So to me, when I was reading it, it felt like every white character was evil, and I was like, well, I don't know. It's just I don't like it when it's just black and white like that.
Well, is
You
that
know,
your white fragility showing?
I know. Right. I mean, yeah, I'm sure part of it is. But I think with any book, it's like it's unsatisfying when there's no nuance or complex characters, you know? Like, is it okay, this whole group of people are evil? I mean, if you want to write that book, fine.
Yeah.
But in the end, that's not how it was anyway, because she did have white characters who supported the resistance and white characters who didn't. So,
But they were characters that we didn't even know about. I would have I would have liked it to have seen like if you're gonna have representation of white people being like real allies and then white people being just unable to get it, I would have preferred for Letty to have been like the ally and
mm,
then some of these more like ancillary characters. But maybe that's why it's so frustrating because you're like, I really do empathize with Letty and I see where she's going and I understand, but she just like can't seem to get it.
yeah,
And if it was an ancillary character, it would be a lot easier for me to distance myself from them. Oh, I'm not like them at all, you know.
right. But then I think that's for us. And I think that's her point is that like
Yes.
this is the hardest betrayal is when you had a friend who you thought was on your side and you're like hoping would stay on your side, but in the end, can't do it.
Yes. Okay, another question. Do you think Letty purposely killed Rami?
Oh, seemed like it. I mean, although it is so quick too, because they were all kind of like jumping around.
Hmm.
So, but I just assumed yes.
That's so interesting. I assume no. That's probably
Oh,
because
really?
I'm probably this big sympathizer because it's like if I admit that Letty is bad,
Mm-hmm.
then I have to admit that
Mm.
maybe I'm bad too.
I think we all have faults.
Yes.
Have good parts and bad parts. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't well, yeah, because like, what did you think about? Because by the end of it, kind of what Letty turns into is like, if she can't have something, she's gonna destroy it. Uh, Which I was like, I don't know. I felt like kind of ballooned into something crazy by the end. But
Yeah.
like with the thing with Rami, it's like apparently they both liked each other, and she's like, well, if I can't have Rami, he's got to die.
That to me
Which
I thought was like crazy, but
I kind
maybe
of thought it was all crazy. But yeah, I don't know. By the end, Letty is super crazy. So maybe that's what she thinks.
at this point of the book, to me it just seemed like she was trying to really like get them all in line and get them to like follow her. And they just and I guess like it's frustrating because it's like their experience with Letty where they keep talking and she's just not listening
Mm-hmm.
kind of mirrors her inner dialogue where she's like, I keep talking to you and you're not
Uh,
listening.
uh-huh.
And so they're both having the same
Hmm.
conflict. And I
Yeah.
feel like how I took that scene is that she was just getting so frustrated where she's like, you're not listening. Like, you're not listening to what I'm saying. And then she like
She
shoots a gun
needed
at the person.
violence to get her point across, which is the whole subtitle, The Necessity of Violence.
Yes.
Okay, so do you think like the rest of the squad should have done a better job listening to her? Or was it that she didn't have good points? And they were like, we've already told you why that's wrong. Stop bringing it up. Like, are they at fault too in some ways? Or are we making it about ourselves now?
Well, I know it's impossible. It's impossible to discern. It's impossible. It's impossible for me to answer the second part of that question. I think there are key points where Letty would make up a good idea. Like we even saw this in the previous section, where
Mm-hmm.
she's like, "Well, maybe we could do something not violent." And everyone's like, "No!" Bleh. And then Anthony was like, "Oh, actually, that's a pretty good idea. Like, let's do something with it."
Mm-hmm.
And like here was someone, a person of color, a person who had been, victimized by the culture, but he didn't have all those previous experiences with Letty, I guess. So it's like he
That's
was
true.
able to just like hear her and like, validate, which is what she
Mm-hmm.
wanted.
Yeah. He had more capacity maybe to kind of like shepherd her along and be like, well, Eddie, yeah, let's work on that. And like, let's start there and then see where it can, like maybe
Well,
help.
I don't think he was like shepherding her because she even said like they would talk to me like patronizing, like I don't get it or
Mm.
this or that. I felt like he did think it was like legitimately a good idea.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I could see that. Okay, but with Anthony too, because Robin mentions later, it's like Anthony must have spent his whole life trying to figure out how to translate himself between like different
Hmm.
audiences that he's with. And so I wonder if that's reflecting Anthony's like great skill basically at working and talking to white people, where
Oh,
he's able to, cast aside whatever he's actually thinking, but then like put on the front that the white person needs to see,
yes.
you know?
Yes.
I don't know. I guess it's hard for us to know. Did he actually think that was a good idea, or was he kind of catering to the audience?
Right. Uh, that's such a good point. And like the code switching is what
Mm-hmm.
RF Kwong called it in her interview. And I think that's like
Mm-hmm.
the proper term.
Yeah, you're right.
I think everybody does code switching to a degree. Like RF
Mm-hmm.
Kwong in her interview, she said something where she's like, if I'm speaking to like a minority or Chinese group, I'm gonna feel a little bit more comfortable than if I'm speaking to like a bunch of white people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when I first heard that, I was like, but then I thought about it and I was like, if I was in a room with a bunch of white people who look just like me, I would feel more free saying something than if I was
Mm-hmm.
in a group with a bunch of minorities where I would be really worried that I'm going to say something wrong
Yeah.
on
Mm-hmm.
accident.
Yeah. You're assuming you have this like shared experience and are coming from the same place and kind of have like similar understandings of
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
So I think
It's true.
everybody's code switching, but
Yeah.
for minorities, they all have to like
All the
code
time.
switch to us. Yeah, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Yeah.
exhausting.
Yeah.
So,
That sounds right.
okay. So you think Letty killed Remy on purpose?
I don't honestly, I don't really know. I don't I don't know. I don't know what she did. Because it was such a quick moment. But also, I mean, she pulled the trigger and she knows what guns do. Seems like she has a lot of
Hmm.
experience with guns. And if you have a lot of experience with guns, I think you, like, at least with her training, with her dad being an admiral, she'd also have a lot of restraint with guns. It's like you only pull the trigger
That's
when
a
you
good
mean to.
point. That's a good point.
So she knew it was going to do something. Was she just kind of blindly shooting, like, you know, whoever it hit? She just
Yeah.
needed them to know that she was serious.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Ugh. It was so disappointing. After that, I was like, I don't want to finish this
I'm
book.
out. Yeah.
Ugh.
I know.
Ugh.
It was so sad. It was so much darker after Rami left.
Yes.
Rami
Have you heard
died.
of the term misery porn?
No, but I can imagine.
It's basically like a TV show or a book where it's like the protagonist is just one horrible thing after another and they can just never seem to catch a break.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like this. Like this was the start of like a misery porn where it's just like
Yeah,
it just goes down the
I
tube.
know.
So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I looked up to see if that was part of the genre, dark academia. Like, is it supposed to be like this?
yeah.
And I don't think necessarily. Like, if it's supposed to be a tragedy, is it supposed to all be so bleak at the end? I don't think that's always the case with dark academia.
I don't think so. I don't think it's
That
part of
was
the
an RF
genre.
Kuang special.
Yes. Okay, did you have other thoughts?
I don't think so. I think we've talked
Okay.
about pretty much everything.
All right. Let's carry
All
on.
right. Okay, so Victoire and Robin have been arrested and they are each in separate cells. Sterling Jones, the Jewel of Babel, comes in to interrogate Robin and make him spill all of Hermie's secrets. Robin refuses and is tortured. That night, Griffin sneaks in and busts both Robin and Victoire out of jail. On their way out, they run into Sterling. Sterling and Griffin have a showdown that ends with them simultaneously shooting each other in the heart. Robin can't bear the grief, but Victoire pulls him along because they have to keep running. Thoughts on all those things?
So we learned this whole side story about Griffin and Sterling.
Yeah, they're rivals, frenemies.
It's And it's like so much of these deaths, like none of the like in a typical heist, a getaway, people die and it's not like personal. Every one of these deaths feels very loaded. Years
It's
of
very
history.
loaded. Yes. Yeah, that's true. It's years of history, it's loaded, but me as the reader, it was just all so quick. And maybe it was just a state of mind I was in when I was reading it. It just kind of felt like unbelievable. I mean, it's all unbelievable. It's fantasy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it just felt like ludicrous. Like, wow, someone else died.
Well, so the well, to me that didn't seem crazy because Griffin is busting these people out of
That's true.
prison. That to me didn't seem ludicrous. He's busting them out of prison. Like you're kind of expecting someone to get caught. Like these
Okay.
are
Yeah.
big criminals. But then you learn this whole like side story with Griffin and Sterling, and they were both in love with Evie.
Oh my gosh. Which was like their year's Letty was kind of some of the vibes I was getting.
Yeah. And then
Maybe.
Griffin kills Evie in like a rage or like he
He
does
didn't
like the
mean
same.
to,
Well, this might
is what
now
he
be the
says.
third murder of classmates where they killed one of their classmates. Well, I guess okay, so you have Robin and Lovell, and
Mm-hmm.
he didn't mean to do it. Then we have Letty and
Rami.
Rami. She didn't mean to do it. And now we have Griffin and Evie, and he's like, I didn't mean to do it. And I'm like, that's a lot.
They, yeah, they clearly need to add some sort of class at Babel about anger
Yeah.
management. Have some therapy. They definitely need some therapy going on at Babel.
Yes. So I don't know. It was just it was like a little throwaway comment, but I'm like, I don't know.
What, you think it's
With
crazy
all that
that
just with all that history with Griffin and Evie and Sterling is like this evil madman. And Griffin was like secretly in love with Evie and then he killed her. And I was like,
I feel like that's what made it start to feel kind of loony for me, where it's like it was just so much all at once.
yeah,
And I don't know, it was just too much crammed into one page, maybe is how I
yes,
was feeling.
yeah,
Like a lot of plot happens in this last section. They do everything. They do
they do
so much.
everything.
Everyone
And
dies. You hear everyone's backstory. You're like, oh my gosh.
yes. And Sterling is like the most evil. Like,
Yeah. Why is he so bad again? What makes him the most evil?
because he was torturing Robin
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and like saying he was like the most racist, the most evil.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, he was bad. And he was Professor Lovell's like favorite. He was all the professor's favorite. Yikes.
Well, and I guess like if you think about it, it's like you have Letty who is like a little bit covert evil,
Mm-hmm.
where she doesn't see herself as racist or any of these things, but then she does constantly do racist actions. Maybe unintentionally, but she does do them. And even when she's like corrected, it's like she can't seem to like get it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Sterling, who is overt racist. Like it's like a
Mm-hmm.
different type of
Okay.
caricature where he's just like straight on racist and evil.
Yeah.
They're just like two different descriptions.
Hmm. Do you think Letty will kind of become like Sterling though? Because maybe Sterling was like that in his class when he was kind of forced to be with everybody, but now he's like working for the man, and he's like, finally, I'm with my white people. I can be my true self.
I think what's sneaky about Letty is that she doesn't see herself as racist. Therefore, she can never improve.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
I think so like I don't know that she'll ever change being more racist. I feel like she thinks that she's not. And that's the problem. She can't like admit that she makes mistakes.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Sterling does either, though.
I think Sterling is like, these people are beneath me. So yeah, I
Right.
don't make mistakes. I feel like he's like, oh, like if you said, "Oh, are you racist?" He'd be like, "Yes." And if you asked Letty, she would say no. That's what I feel like is the difference.
I feel like he would say he's not racist. He would say, I'm just treating people as they should be treated. Like, I don't know. That's kind of how or
It's
maybe he would. I don't know. I'm not sure what he would say. But like,
like maybe if you didn't ask, like, "Are you racist?" But if you ask,
yeah.
"Oh, are you
Oh,
and people from India equal?"
okay.
He'd say no. And Letty
All
would
right.
say yes,
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I could see that.
you know?
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
But and I think that's why with Letty, it's like, ugh, I hate it so much because it's like, if I were to be one of those two characters, I would be Letty.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking, thinking of myself as a good person, but navigating this world as an offender. Not as
Mm-hmm.
bad, but like similar to Sterling.
In some ways, a little worse.
In some way,
Because
yeah.
because then you have all this trust and then you betray your friends. They never
Yes.
trusted Sterling. They knew what he was about.
Yes,
So,
exactly. Like a covert, you know?
uh-huh. Hmm. Yeah, man. Any other thoughts on Sterling
No.
or Griffin?
Griffin, he was weird. From the beginning to the end, he was weird. I never I
Yeah,
never
did you like
fully
Griffin?
him being like we have to like use violence in order to make a difference. I'm like this all this is going to do is it's going to what do you call it? Galvanize.
Oh,
It's
uh-huh.
going to make all the white people go into a thing and be like, look what they did. These
Mm-hmm.
people, they're evil, just like we thought. It's
Mm.
just
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you do violence, it's just going to reinforce like these racist ideas, and
Mm-hmm.
then people are going to point to it, and I feel like it's never going to get fixed.
Yeah, I kind of agree. So my thing with that was it seemed like when Griffin was, spouting all of his plans during the Hermes meetings, everyone was like, no, Griffin, that's crazy. We can't do
Yeah.
that. Which is why I was shocked in this next scene when Robin and Victoria decide, you know what? Griffin's plan, it's the only one. He was right all along. We're going to do it. So
There
then I was just kind of confused. What is it?
I, the the issue is that this is not something that gets fixed in a singular event, in a singular
Yeah,
day or a singular year. This is
that's true.
something that I think like tribalism, racism, us versus them is a very like human instinct. And so that's something that is very difficult to undo.
Yeah.
I don't think even a singular violent event would undo that, you know? I think
Mm. Hmm.
it takes a
Yeah.
lot.
And Kuang isn't trying to prescribe a solution here
No.
either. But so I guess it does make sense that Robin and Victoria are just so full of rage, upset. They're like, we're doing the violent option. That's it.
Well, I could see with Robin where, and I think he even says, he's like, well, everybody else is dead, so let's try it.
Yeah.
I see
Yeah.
that being
Hmm.
like, we tried and Letty sold us out and they killed everybody.
Right. So that's where
So,
nonviolence got us.
yeah, that's where so let's try it. Let's see.
Hmm. Yeah. All right. All right. I could see
I
that.
mean, I get that.
Yeah. Hmm. Interesting.
Hmm.
Shall we move on?
This is something that I wrote at the
Oh,
end of Letty's interlude, and I don't know how I feel about it now.
okay. Do you want to share it on a
Yeah,
public podcast?
I'll say it, and then if you tell me, we'll edit it out. But I said,
Okay.
I think the gang let their own prejudices of white people keep Letty away.
Hmm.
And they manifested Letty into being what they thought she'd be.
Ah,
I don't know that I agree with that now, having read the book.
look at us growing. Um, yeah, because okay. So when I first heard that, I was like, oh, are we just putting it back on making it about us again? Putting the fault on
Yeah,
minorities.
you're right.
But I think it is, well, I don't know. We didn't see all their interactions because the interactions we saw between them and Letty was like within what, a week between when Lovell died to when she
Yeah.
turned in Hermes. Like that's all that we got of them telling Letty about their experience. So as far as we know, that's when it started.
Yes.
Which to me, I'm like, okay, a lot happened in a week.
Yeah, that's like not a
I
lot of time. I
That's not a lot
agree.
of time. Like I feel like if this had been going on since year one, it would make a lot more sense of why they were treating Letty like that. Why they were like being condescending, saying like, oh, it was in one ear out the other. Because you can't expect someone to understand all that in a week. That's my thought.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, I agree. I think by the time I had read to that page, I was of the thinking that this had only happened in 1 week. And I'm like, you guys are
Yes.
like, you're asking her to change her whole worldview and perception of things. And yes, she should have blah, 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 blah. We've talked about that, but she didn't. And now it's been brought to her attention very clearly.
Mm-hmm. She's
And
doing what she can.
she's doing what she can and all these things. And I think they were condescending and they were
Mm-hmm.
not nice to her. But then by the end of the book, more and more is like revealed where you're like, no, like they told her so many times.
Yeah. I wish we had gotten that before the
Well,
betrayal.
in Letty's interlude, she wouldn't be able to recall any of those times.
Yeah. I mean, that's true.
She's
But
only
like it could have
recalling
happened
it
in
could
the
it
earlier chapters.
right, it could have
Like
been
we could have seen it.
happening. Yes, yes. I wish you're right. I wish we would have seen more instances earlier on of
Mm-hmm.
Letty just being a total like dum dum.
Yeah. I agree. Agree.
Because like the data points that we had before this was the ball where she was sexualized as well as Victoire,
Uh-huh.
but they didn't care about her being sexualized. It was just
Yeah.
about them being like, "Why did you bring us here?" And she's like, "I didn't think it'd be like that."
Right.
And I'm like, "Okay, that doesn't seem like crazy."
I kind of agree. Maybe that's like a half point. It's like because they were telling her like, no, no, we're gonna be looked at, we're gonna be
Well, I guess that's true, right?
harassed.
That's a good point.
So, all right, maybe that's one point. But that's it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I feel like that's not enough for me to really view Letty as a dum dum.
Yes. By the end of the book, I think Victoire starts like revealing. I feel like they keep revealing more and more and more and more. I remember reading
Yeah.
and being like, because by the time I got to the Letty shows back out, I'm like, girl, get out of here.
Yeah, I know.
Like, they don't like you. You don't get it. They've told you too many times.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, so I agree. I think it would have been, it's not like this was a surprise that she turned them in.
No.
So I think there could have been more instances earlier on that the reader could have observed so that we could have felt as frustrated with
Yeah,
Letty as Robin and the crew.
I think so. And maybe part of it is from Kuang's perspective. She's like, everyone's gonna know what Letty's like. Everyone, like, 'cause just because she has so many personal experiences with Letty, to where it's like she didn't need to make it. Maybe she felt like she didn't need to make it so clear.
Hmm.
But I don't know. For us, at least, I think we would have liked it to be a little more spelled out, I guess.
Yeah. Which
Maybe.
again, which again, is that like the white fragility creeping in? I don't know. Is that why we're so like resistant to just accepting it as it is and like still holding out a candle for Letty, even though we don't have a lot of data points, but the few that we have, she has been a little self-absorbed. Like when she
Mm-hmm.
was crying and they were telling her about their
Oh,
experiences,
uh-huh.
and then they're
And
having to console her,
right, right. Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
you
But that
know.
was day one. If we're talking, this has been a week. So, but yeah,
Ugh.
I Letty is a stink. I would have wished there was more examples of that earlier on, just so we could really understand what's happening.
Yeah, really drive it home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
Letty doesn't go away, but
No,
we'll put
she'll
her to
come
the
back.
side for now. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they leave. Griffin has just died. Robin and Victoire keep running. Robin and Victoire decide their best option is to follow Griffin's plan, take over Babel and hold Britain hostage. They send out a signal to all the Hermes operatives to meet at the tower, but they don't know if anyone else is still alive. Once at the tower, the takeover is pretty easy. Robin waves a gun around and reveals to the students and faculty about the seedy underbelly of Babel, how it exploits other countries and its students for its own personal gain, how it's drugging the Chinese people with opium, and how it's devised the war against the Chinese for silver. In a very Scooby Doo moment, Professor Playfair leads a counterattack and orders someone to apprehend Robin and Victoire. A few white students step forward, and they all have a kerfuffle, but they're scholars, so it doesn't really go anywhere until Playfair gets a gun. He's pointing it at Robin, but is too scared to shoot, so Victoire shoots Playfair instead. Playfair doesn't die, but this shows the people Robin and Victoire aren't messing around. Robin demands they all go on strike and hamstring the Empire until they cede to their demands to stop the war on Canton. Those who want to join the resistance can stay in the tower, while the rest can leave. But once they leave, they can never come back.
Hmm.
In the end, 6 scholars remain: Professor Chakravarty, Professor Kraft, 2 undergrads, and 2 grads who have never met before, and Robin and Victoire. They are all from different colonies, except for Professor Kraft, who is white.
Professor Kraft in the beginning of this book, Letty is like, "What's it like being a lady in Babel?" And she was just like, "Don't talk to me."
That's right. I was wondering if that was her. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that was her.
even Letty is just ostracized from
Like
everybody.
maybe Letty is so awful that she repels
Maybe.
everyone.
That's the only explanation that makes sense here.
Because all of a sudden, Professor Kraft is suddenly like a,
This doll, this gem.
yeah, this wonderful person who is nice and is
Mm-hmm.
willing to like stand up for like the good fight. But
Mm-hmm.
the only data point we have of her was her being horrible to a young student.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, all right. Is she the foil to Letty, where it's like we saw in the beginning, and we're like, wow, Kraft really doesn't get it. What a jerk. But
Yeah.
now she's been presented with the facts, and she's immediately like, makes sense. I'm on their side now. Total
I think
worldview changed.
I think Kraft was part of Hermes.
I think it's Chakravarty because he's the
Chakravarti
one who said,
and
"Oh,
Kraft
they
is
were they both." I think so. I remember Chakravarty. I'm pretty sure it's Chakravarty who said, "Oh, good job sending out the signal" or something. So I think he was part of Babel.
Hermes.
Craft. Oh, yes, Hermes. And then Craft is so Robin's telling them about like, hey, Professor Lovell is the architect of this war, and Kraft says that can't be true. Robin says, no, it is. We have the facts. And Playfair says he's lying. Don't listen to him, Professor Kraft. And then Professor Kraft listens more, and she's like, No, this sounds right.
Oh,
And then she
okay.
says, Professor Playfair, did you know about this?
Yes.
So is that maybe supposed to be the example of like someone who is an ally? They hear the facts and literally 30 seconds later, they're like, yeah, I'm ready to overthrow the institution.
Well, so we find out later that Professor Kraft, she's known that things are afoot.
Okay.
She creates a match pair that shoots children into a mine to get like
What?
blood diamonds.
Oh, I forgot about. Oh, no, no. She had made something for the trains over there, but then it was like misused or like what? Yeah, it made the trains too unstoppable and then it ran over kids.
It
Yeah,
was like
that's right.
running over
That's
children who
right.
were forced to get blood diamonds. And she's like, "Oh, that seems like bad. Like maybe we shouldn't." I said, "Oh, no, 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 no. They're helping out like their parents." And she was like, "Okay." So she was like willfully ignorant, but
Yeah.
she knew things were not quite right. So I think that's why when
Right.
she was presented with this compelling case, she had enough data points to be like, this feels pretty legit.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. So this wasn't her first introduction.
Right. Versus Letty, it kind of seems like she's just younger
Mm-hmm.
and she had not been around people
Very
of
ignorant.
very ignorant, but I think by circumstance.
Well, she was hanging out with her cohort for 3 years.
The 3 years, yeah, no excuse after the 3 years.
Yeah.
But before that,
Right.
okay, she was
Yeah.
had no experiences. But you're right. It has been 3 years with her best friends. Like you would think that she would be able to like put the pieces together.
I think that's why the friendship we just need more for how long this book is. We really did not get enough experiences showing whether they liked Letty, what
Yeah.
kind of like I would like more examples of Letty willfully ignoring their experiences. Yeah, would like more of that.
Yeah, because when I think of like the memories that we have with Letty, I think of the ball where she was trying to get them to do
Hmm.
something fun. It didn't work out. She didn't listen to them. Okay, oopsie poopsie. Then on the boat, at this point, they've iced her out and she can't figure out why. That to me, I thought was like the meanest thing.
Yes.
For
Yeah.
6 weeks, she's on this boat
Awful. Yeah.
and
And
no
then
one's
mhm.
explaining to her. Oh, sorry.
Right. Yeah, no, honestly, I think that's like the worst part. But then even before that, they have finals and Rami is kind of like egging her on, sort
Yeah.
of thing. Like kind of find her annoying. They also had good times. They took that picture. They've laughed a lot. They've eaten those biscuits together. But yeah, overall, I'm like, did they even like her?
Right. I don't know.
Not clear.
I I feel like they never really liked her and Letty was just desperate for their friendship and they wouldn't give it to her. And she knew that and then they needed her for this big thing of loyalty and the trust wasn't there.
I know. And is it wrong for her to not trust them after they hated her for 3 years? I don't know. But maybe we're assuming too many things.
Yeah. Okay.
So, okie dokie. So they've taken the tower. Do you have any more thoughts on all those things?
Just that yes, Croft is a foil to Letty
Mm. Hmm.
and she does turn out to be a really good ally and a very good professor.
Surprise.
Which is shocking because we only have the singular data point before where she was actually quite horrible. So let's carry
People
on.
change is what we've
People
learned,
change. Yes.
but not Letty.
Not Letty. Some don't, some do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So begins our last adventure, the Babel takeover. The next few weeks are a pattern of the Empire sends messages calling for the Babel strike to end. The resistors mess with the Silver Resonances to quicken the fall of the Empire. Local townsfolk protest the strike because their town is going to Hades in a handbasket. The labor strikers, who we met earlier, join the Babel strike and help reinforce the tower. British soldiers come and say they'll storm the castle or storm the tower, but really they just kind of stand there. And basically, this all just keeps repeating. Then a big tipping point comes when the gang realizes that Westminster Bridge is going to fall in 7 days because it's due for silver repairs that won't happen. Professor Chakravarti says this is too far and leaves the resistance. The rest of them also don't feel great about letting the tower fall, but they decide to stay. Um, Thoughts on that? Should I keep going?
Um, yeah, so there was just a couple because I was like kind of waffling. Okay, does the violence make sense? Does it not? And there was this like one line where they're like, for this to work, their plan to work, they had to frighten the rich and the powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's true.
I think so. Gotta make it personal for someone to
So,
care.
yes. And so then there's this other rub that happens because the strikers, the union strikers from before, they join up because they
Mm-hmm.
now all have a common goal of anti-silver,
Yeah.
but they can't really get people on board for like the anti-war in China as much. And I don't know if that is like because people are racist or if because people are just selfish. Because fundamentally, it's a lot easier to care about something if it impacts you.
Mm-hmm. I know. It is hard to care about something when you're so distanced from it. It doesn't even
Yeah.
feel real, you know?
Yes. Yes.
So, and also when it's so ingrained into your society where you're like, what can I even do about it? Like it's just
Right.
kind of paralyzing. You're like shopping at Walmart is probably really unethical.
Yeah.
Like all those $2 t-shirts are probably made with terrible, under terrible circumstances for the
Yes.
workers. And I
Yes.
still shop at Walmart. And maybe I shouldn't. But also I'm like, where am I gonna shop? So it's just kind of can be debilitating if you try to change the system or like change your own choices and work within the system. But you're like, well, what can I do?
It is very overwhelming.
So I know it's hard. So yeah, so in
Yes.
this case, I think it's hard for people to care about the war when it feels so distant and
Hmm.
when it feels like they can't do anything anyway.
Yes. Yes. And so I think like by them making it painful for people,
Yeah,
it's like, okay, I think that might actually be a good tactic in some ways of
I
like,
think so. Hmm.
it's in your face. You can't just like ignore it.
Yeah. Okay, I think it is, but now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, does this really change people's opinions though, or make them care about China or about the
Not China.
Silver Empire? Like, does it actually do anything for that purpose?
Right. Or does it just reinforce everyone being like, these,
Those people stink.
yeah, a group of foreigners took up the tower and now they're making our
Right,
lives inconvenient.
right.
I know.
So I don't know. But I guess, okay. But I guess this whole takeover, it wasn't really for the public. It was for the officials, British officials, people with power
Yeah.
to change their decision. So, okay. I guess that was the goal.
But then throughout this portion, you find out, oh, the officials are kind of like, whatever. And
Yeah.
it's really like public opinion that has become because like they keep sending out the pamphlets, and that's
Mm-hmm.
like what is making it more headway. We don't really know what their pamphlets said though. Probably just more of the same.
Yeah, we don't super know. So, okay, so maybe I take back what I said earlier. Maybe what ended up being the biggest fruit of all of this was changing public opinion because they stopped the silver. So then it got everyone's attention, like, what's happening? And then
Hmm.
they sent out the pamphlets and they said, we're doing this because all this terrible stuff is happening and our government's going to vote on it. And we need to stop this. And then people were like, oh, that
Yeah.
is bad.
I guess that's true. Yeah,
So
that
maybe
is
it
what
did change
happened.
public opinion.
I think what would have been even more effective is if they were like, hey, just so you know, these professors are saying that this silver is really expensive, but it's not. Or they're saying like they
They've been
purposely
lying
make
to you. Yeah, it's actually, I can show you how to fix it.
yeah, like I can show
It's
you how to
super
fix it.
easy.
Yeah, it's actually super easy. You actually don't really need to know a lot to do it, and
That
they've
would
been
have
price
undermined
gouging
the whole
you.
thing too. You're right.
I feel
We
like
just
that
want
would have
transparent prices.
I mean, if you're talking about like trying to make it like make people really care about it, like that's something where you like you can really get people in on the mission of like these people are not here to help you.
Mm.
And it's
Oh,
like,
that would have been interesting.
yeah, like
Yeah.
they're taking advantage of you, these silver
Yeah.
people. And they're doing all of these other horrible and then you'd be like, yeah, these are bad people. Then you're like, they're also doing all these other
Hmm.
horrible things.
Yeah. Yeah, what would have happened if they did that?
I don't know.
But that would have been that it would have been a lot slower for one. And the vote was happening, at the end of the month or
Yeah.
whatever. Because they couldn't have really like hamstrung the Empire or Babel by just, taking away all of their maintenance fees.
This part felt like it was supposed to be this like grand finale. It to me it kind of felt like little kids
A little bit. Yeah,
doing
like
like
what
a
are you
little
doing?
rebellion,
Well, I kind of did.
you know? Like, okay.
And was it? I don't know. Big stuff. I don't, it didn't seem to have the effect they wanted. Or maybe it did. I don't know. I guess we don't really know exactly what effect it had because we don't get that part of the
Yeah, because they were
story.
stuck in the tower the whole time. I mean, they would get like their little news things where they're like, "Oh, like people are so inconvenienced everywhere." And you're like, "Okay,
Yeah. Good.
good."
Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Maybe there's something nice and symbolic about that because the scholars have been kind of, ruining the world from their academic tower, so removed
Hmm.
from everything. And now they're trying to redeem it also from the tower,
Oh, that's true.
still removed from everything. I don't
What do
know.
you think about Chakravarti leaving?
I kind of get that he's like letting the bridge fall a little far, but I will say they told everyone that the bridge was going to fall, which I think is different. Like I'm glad
Yeah.
they did that. So,
Which I was like, why is anyone on the bridge even?
yeah, I know. I mean, unless the word didn't get out or they didn't
Like,
believe it, it's
yeah.
possible. But yeah, I kind of agree. Um, I mean, I would feel uncomfortable with that too. Where it's like, how far do you want to go with being culpable for people's deaths? Because already people have been dying because of the
Yeah.
silver falling apart.
Hmm.
So, but then it's like, well, then we haven't we still have the same issue as we had before. Then maybe the issue will be solved if we let the tower fall or let the bridge fall, is the hope. So I guess the question is, will letting the bridge fall change things?
I don't think
Kind of,
so.
yeah,
What do you think?
yeah. I feel like for it to change things, the change would have had to come before the bridge fell. When
Yeah.
the government is like, we can't let that happen. Like, okay,
Yeah.
sure, let's negotiate,
Yeah.
you know? So,
It feels like the change that they're trying to do is like a societal change and they're trying to make it happen overnight, which is like that just doesn't happen.
this is what the yes, you finish your thought.
Well, that just doesn't happen. And so it's like, what is your goal? Your goal, in my opinion, your goal should be to make a statement and to like inform people like they did with the pamphlets and like once you're seeing like public opinion turning, like that's the goal.
Well, but I think they have that time limit of the vote for the war on Canton. They're just really trying to stop that.
Well, that's just not gonna happen. I mean, maybe, I guess that's the point, is that maybe it could. So it's worth a
Yeah,
try.
right. So I think that's why they are trying to be so drastic, or they have to be so drastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but two things. One is like, yeah, is this going to make a long-term impact? Because it was like so much in such a short time. It's like, are people's long-term opinions going to change? I don't know. Doesn't super seem like it. And two, is this a parallel of what they were trying to do with Letty? All in 1 week. Tear down everything. Do a whole societal change within Letty's mind. I don't know.
I feel like to make a difference, it's like R.F. Kuang writing this book, and now we read it, and now we're thinking about
Mm-hmm.
it. And there's like things that I read and like, oh, I could see like myself being like a Letty in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Now, like my perspective has changed. Now we
Yeah.
talk about it, and then maybe someone else hears,
Mm-hmm.
and the ideas like spread. That
Yeah.
to me is
I
like a
mm-hmm.
sustainable, like long term.
Agree. Maybe that's what the pamphlets will do.
But like with the violence, it's like I feel like that's not gonna really do anything for you long term.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused as to what the message of the book is because yeah, my take is also like long term doesn't seem like violence is gonna work. But then the subtitle of the book is The Necessity of Violence or something, something. So
Yeah.
then I don't know. What is she trying to say? She's trying to say, yes, violence is necessary. Let me show you through this book. Because I don't know if it really did show that violence was necessary, considering everyone just died. And the goal was not achieved, from my take, at least.
Yeah. Ugh. All right. Well, carry us home.
All right. Um, okay, so the bridge falls, and then Oxford breaks out into open warfare between the strikers who joined Robin's group and the British soldiers. Things get serious, and the British soldiers mean business now. Abel, the leader of the strikers and the liaison between Robin and the town, tells Robin that they have until dawn until the British actually storm the tower. He says he can start ferrying Robin and the rest of the team out of the tower and to safety before this happens. Then another liaison shows up. Letty. She
Ugh.
is here. I know. She is here to offer one more chance at salvation before the soldiers siege the tower. Her argument is that even if Robin and Victoire go down with Babel, all they'll do is be a minor setback to the Empire. They'll never succeed in actually stopping its plans. But if they join her, they can work from the inside. To that, Robin and Victoire say they can't betray their motherlands and be a part of this unjust system, and they'll never truly be free within the Empire, and neither will Letty if they just keep bending the knee to the Empire's demands. In the end, they say that they are not going with Letty, but will let the other scholars know about her offer. They don't take it. The bridge is burned between them. Dun dun dun.
What did you,
Okay.
okay, so really quick, what did you think about Letty's arguments in this interaction?
I mean, I kind of get what she's saying. And this is where we learn that apparently in the, inner room, they're just laughing at all of these feeble attempts of Robin trying to like
Yeah.
change their minds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, this isn't gonna do anything. I, mm, yeah, so I kind of get what she's saying. And she also says, like, if the Empire is gonna be going, might as well be in a good seat and, get the rewards of it. It's kind
Oh,
of what she says. And I don't, and I agree with what Robin and Victoire say, where they're like, no, even if, this is going to be bad for us and we're going to get the short end of the stick here, we can't be a part of something that's unjust.
hmm.
And I agree with that. Is this the best effort of doing that? I kind of get Letty's point. This is really just like an ant bite. and the Empire.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I think they both make good points where it's like you guys are actually not really doing a whole lot, but you're harming like the poor people.
okay, yeah, I thought that was a great point. I was like, yeah, they're really suffering here. Like their water isn't clean anymore.
Yeah.
They're dying. And yeah, Robin and Victoire, especially Robin, seemed very unfazed.
He's like,
From
whatever.
yeah, it's like it's the cost of doing business. You're like, what?
Robin has fully lost the plot. Griffin died and flew into his body.
hmm Yeah, the spirit of Killy Millie.
Yeah, took him over. Um, I understand being like, I can't be a part of the machine, even if
hmm
I'm trying to rot the beast from the inside. Because it's like, and that's like what Hermes was trying to do at the beginning, getting like little moles in there and like stealing literatures and doing X, Y, and Z. And we don't even know if that was effective. We don't know how big this organization was. They make it sound like it's big, but it might be three people.
It seems like everyone has already died. I guess it couldn't have been that big. I don't know.
Right. So I get that. Like maybe what would have been more effective is if instead of trying to take down Britain, why don't you go fly over to China and say, "Listen, dude, this is what's happening. Let me help you
Try to
build a
strengthen
translation."
China.
Yeah, let me build you a translation
Great
center
point.
here.
That's a great point. Or I don't know, is it like the best way to end a war is to like so it doesn't begin? So instead of making both people strong aggressors, try to just stop the one. I don't know, but
I
I
mean,
like
I
what you're
guess
thinking.
I don't know. I feel like there were like I don't because it just seems like they're causing a lot of inconvenience for the rich people. They're causing a lot of really bad harm for the poor people.
Mm-hmm.
And their end goal with letting the bridge fall, doing all of these things is not going to stop the war. It seemed like
Mm-hmm.
their pamphlets were effective. And like Chakravarti, I also wrote this when Chakravarti left, he left for pretty much the same reasons as Letty, if you think about it.
Mm.
It
Mm-hmm.
was just at a later inflection point.
Later inflection point, and then he didn't like betray them.
And he didn't betray them. He didn't betray them. But
Yeah.
like but him
People have a
not
line.
wanting to continue with their method, it's the same
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Right, because Letty said she was on board with the pamphlets and stuff. Like she supported the cause, she just didn't support it doing it this way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I just feel like there's somewhere in between. And what they're
I
doing does not
agree.
seem effective.
It doesn't. Yeah, for how smart they should be. But I guess they're academic smart, not really street smart.
Well, I was gonna say you can be very educated but not very smart.
Mm-hmm. I That could be the case.
Okay.
All right,
Shall we
ready for the
carry
last
on?
part?
Yep.
Okay. Out of our group of 8 scholars, everyone decides they're going to go down with Babel, except for Victoire and one of the other students, who will flee to safety. Robin and Victoire had an emotional discussion about their decisions, and it came down to Robin feeling like he couldn't go on anyway after Rami, Griffin, and all of his friends have died, and Victoire saying she couldn't be just a martyr in this war, but wanted to continue fighting. Robin's plan is to take down Babel before the soldiers can. Together with the other scholars, they built piles of silver all around the tower with the translation of the word translation, the word that should never be used on silver. They decide to activate the bars on the stroke of 6. They do so as the soldiers are marching towards the tower, and as the walls start to crumble, Robin thinks of all of his memories with Rami, Victoire, Babel, and ultimately thinks of his mother speaking his true name. In the last chapter, we hear from Victoire's perspective. We learn she was born in Haiti and fled to France with her mom during political upheaval. She only knew of her motherland as a place of violence and barbaric power struggles. But in France, she was always treated as subhuman by the family she and her mother worked for. She worked for her own freedom and initiated her application to Babel and to liberation. Now she is heading to America to continue fighting for freedom. She knows that, quote, victory is not assured. It must be urged by violence, by suffering, by martyrs, by blood. She doesn't know what this will look like, but she will be in it at every unpredictable turn and will fight until her dying breath. The end.
Bleak.
Wow. Yeah. Super bleak. All of it.
Yeah.
What's the
Like,
bleakest part for you? Or
I
list some
mean,
things.
Robin literally became like a suicide bomber.
Yeah. I didn't love that.
I was like,
Uh,
what?
and five other people with him. It's like,
Yeah.
what? All of you? But Robin didn't even really feel like a suicide bomber. It felt more like euthanasia. Didn't it?
What do
It
you
remind
mean?
like it felt like the end of what was that book? The mystery book that turned into the movie
Thursday Murder Club.
Thursday Murder Club. Mm-hmm. Yeah, where quite a few characters decided to
Exit.
yeah, exit. Yeah. Like just, on their own terms to die safely in their sleep. 'Cause I don't know. And Robin obviously is not dying safely and he's dying as part of the mission, but he just needed an escape. And they kind of say that. It's like he wasn't necessarily doing a heroic thing, he was escaping.
Yeah, like he it, in R.F. Kuang's interview that we listened to, like she talks about how Robin at every turn is trying to be a martyr, like
Yeah.
constantly. Like he's done
He's
this like 4 or 5 times.
like, please take me.
Yeah, and he's just like descended into full madness. And it's like he's taken now a group of people with him
Mm-hmm.
into this madness. And it's like, for what?
Yeah.
He thinks it will change things, but I don't know that it will. I mean, maybe in this fictional world.
I don't know. We'll never know. But based off history, it didn't change it.
Mm-mm.
So, yeah, so I just kind of felt like uncomfortable with the whole thing.
I don't know what message R.F. Kuang was trying to say at the end, and I feel like, the message that I got from it is that in order to make change, you need to have violence, and if you got to take a few people down with you, then that's okay too.
I don't like that message.
I don't like that message. There's a lot of other messages throughout that's
Yeah.
being very like
Hmm.
trite, but in terms of like this final act, that was like what I took from it. I'm like, I don't really like that message, and I don't agree with
Yeah,
it.
right. Um, and yeah, I don't know because also part of the message that it seemed to be saying was like sometimes you just gotta exit. But I don't think that is what she was saying because you have both Robin and Victoire chose something different, and neither character is perfect, you know?
Right.
So it's just saying like these are two characters who chose different paths, sort of thing. So she's not necessarily you should do one or the other.
Yeah.
So I guess she's not saying that. But I think it was just unsatisfying because I feel like Robin didn't have any growth. Is that how you feel? Like our main character, I guess he did have growth. He became more confident at the end. But like it's a tragedy.
It is a tragedy. And I would say like his growth is him, and this is something I pulled out from R.F. Kuang. I don't know that I would have put it together without it, is that throughout the book he was waffling.
Yeah. Okay.
He couldn't make any decision. We talked about that. He had like no agency.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the end, he's like making decisions for himself.
Okay, that's true. All right.
Although, what I would say is that it seems like he just absorbed Griffin's vision and
Yeah.
he's not making decisions for himself. He's actually just
Doing what he was
following,
told.
Yeah, like you know,
He just changed one boss for another.
yeah, like he let Griffin's decisions become his decisions. He didn't make them.
Yeah,
He didn't come up with them.
I kind of agree. Yeah. So, right. So did he have growth?
I don't
I
know.
think so. But
I
I
think
think
like
that's
a
part of
little
why it's
bit.
unsatisfying to me.
It feels like we spent 600 pages following this slice of life for
Hmm.
it to end like this. And you're like,
Yeah,
what was the point?
it does feel like that.
What was the point of the book? What was, I mean, we've already talked about all of like the really positives, and there's like a lot of really good discussion topics, blah, 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 blah. In terms of like pure plot, what was the point of the story? What was the point of Robin doing this? We don't see any outcome of it. We see Victoire running away, and I guess like based on your last quote, she has taken with her that I guess she needs to go to America and use violence to make changes there. And you're like, I don't know that I I like
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of agree. Yeah, and I think the whole like last quarter of the book, part of the other thing that made me less excited to keep reading it, that it turned very, what is it, expository, very much a little preachy.
Yeah.
Her message was very clear, very repetitive. And like from a story perspective, there's actually a lot of things from a story perspective where I'm like, what? So one is it became a little preachy, but then two, so much just happened right now. We just
Yeah.
spent like 50 pages with these four new students we've never met before. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, there's a lot of new students introduced. There's all of a sudden new backstories. It just was too much, I think.
It was like a little late in the game.
Yeah. Like, where was all this plot for the first 400 pages?
So one of the things that she said to kind of to explain that, and I was like, oh, that's interesting, is that at Babel, they would overwhelm the students with work and pressure to keep the students from talking to one another
Mm-hmm.
outside of the cohorts. And so then once they were in a space confined, they were realizing that they had like a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
And so it was like a little bit by design to keep everyone siloed.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. And actually, she said something else too, where I was like, man, I wish I could think about that more. We could discuss it more, where it's like, Robin and Rami had kind of like two opposite experiences with
Hmm.
colonialism. And so now they're like reacting to it in different ways.
Yeah.
And like she drew out all these good themes where I'm like, oh yeah, that is a good point. But like I feel like the content that the book focused on wasn't stuff that was as relevant. It wasn't the important parts. Like, I feel like I know a lot about how silver works. I know about these lemon biscuits.
Yeah.
I know about the ball. Like, but I don't know what happens with the vote on China. I don't, I don't know. There's just like a lot of the important themes where I'm like, it came out at the end.
I feel like she was trying to cover too much. I think we should have
Yeah.
deleted the whole opium thing with China. I feel like you're trying to tackle colonialism and you're trying to tackle racism. And those are two like really big topics. And
Yeah.
I think she could have like drilled down on the racism one because I felt like that one we didn't even hear about the opium thing in China until like page 400.
Right.
So it's like now I felt like things were getting like the messaging wasn't
Mm-hmm.
as clear. It was getting like a little
Yeah, it was
confusing.
too much. You're right. Yeah, what if we took out the opium war and what if yeah, they could have still been writing pamphlets against Babel, but for like Babel taking advantage of the people. or
Yeah.
for like treating their students terribly. Like, and they still could have hamstrung the empire by removing the silver and
Yeah.
just not tied it to the war vote. Yeah.
I
I
feel
think that would have
like,
been stronger. They traveled across the whole globe. Like they just went so many places at the end. There were so
yeah.
many new characters. Yeah, too much, I think.
Because I was, even though like we said we're on page 400 and I don't know where this book is going, but like I was kind of like happy for just like the slice of life. We're going on
Mm-hmm.
the ride, but it's like if you're gonna turn this into like this epic novel where we're changing history, now we're
Yeah.
stopping wars, it's like I feel like these things need to be, you can't
Peppered
have,
in from the beginning.
yeah, like I can't have page 400 when I'm introduced to like this key plot point. Like that needs to be
Yes, agreed.
way before.
Yeah, yeah, I
I
agree.
know. And I'm like, I'm bummed because like I was, this last part of the book, like if it wasn't for the pod, I wouldn't have finished it.
I kind of felt the same way where I was like, I didn't read it for a week and I wasn't all that interested in going back. Even though when I was reading it, I enjoyed it, but it didn't grab me.
No, I was like having like a visceral reaction to it. Maybe that's like my white
Is it because
fragility,
of
like
the
we were talking
Letty?
about. Yeah, but like the thing with the Letty, I was just so disappointed about that. And I was just like,
Yeah.
this sucks. I was like, now everything sucks. And everything from then, it never got better. And I was like,
Yeah. Yeah. It felt like a slog a little bit.
I was like, okay. Should we rate or should we do the read it like Reddit?
I don't know. I did have other,
Oh, you have more questions.
well, these are all from Reddit. Okay, what if we do a speed round Reddit? 'Cause maybe that'll influence our scores.
I know. I was thinking that too, but I don't know if I want that to influence my score or not.
All right, let's do both. Let's score it now and see if anything changes after.
Okay.
All right. So, scores, theme.
We talked a lot about like, I'm going to give it a 5 because the themes that she nailed, I feel like she nailed it 100%. Like the things
Mm-hmm.
with like racism, the things with white fragility, the things of like not listening. I feel like she really nailed that. There's a couple things where I'm like, she didn't really nail, but I think she, in my opinion, did so good on the ones that she hit that I'm going to just ignore the other ones.
I agree with all that, but I am gonna give her a 4 because it's just too much.
Too
And
much.
it would have been stronger if she narrowed it down for me,
I
at
agree.
least.
I agree.
So,
Hmm.
all right, but 5 and 4, pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, writing style.
I'm going to give her a 4 because this book was too long.
Oh, that's a good point. It was very long. I'm gonna give her writing style a 5, but I think some things will come up in the other category of too long and kind of preachy sometimes,
Repetitive.
like a little too repetitive, but I guess that goes with length.
That's
Yeah.
what I mean
Or
with
maybe
like,
too much telling, not showing.
I could see that. I just feel like it, for how long it is, it didn't justify it to me. Like
No,
she could have gotten a lot of the same points across without the length. And I think that's from the repeating.
agree. Yeah,
Okay.
agree. All right. Well, I'll give her a 5, but other category is going to take a hit. Okay, character depth.
I'm gonna go. Why don't you go first?
I'm kind of conflicted on this one because on the one hand, everyone has an in-depth background. So, which is normally how I judge this category, I guess. So I guess it's still really high. But on the other hand, they don't really change.
No.
Robin, I guess we said, became confident, made his own decisions. But part of what kind of bothered me with the end too is like it seemed like Robin, Rami, and Victoire, we've been saying they're not perfect characters, but by the end it kind of seemed like they were perfect. And like every decision they were making, it's like, obviously this is the right one. Letty, how don't you see it? Why don't you
Yeah.
see it? You know? And so So then it makes me feel like they don't have depth. They're just like one note. Everything they do is right. So maybe I'll go 4.
I'm conflicted as well because it's like I really like the interludes. I liked how I felt like throughout the book, it's like one character would say something and another one would be like, "Oh, well, what about this?" Or like you would see like
Mm-hmm.
different like perspectives through the book, which I really liked. That to me would
Mm-hmm.
indicate like character depth, like with the interludes where you're seeing, oh, this is how Letty was perceiving all of these things. This is how
Yeah.
Rami, this is that. But I think I really would have liked for this big reveal of Letty being the horrible person. I would have liked to have seen more of those instances. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
there was like a lot of just like, oh, you just have to kind of believe me because
Yeah.
Robin said
Yeah.
so, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to go 4.5.
4.5. Okay. Yeah. Good points. All right. Lands the plane.
I'm going to give this a 2.5.
2.5. Wow.
I felt like there was just a lot of things that she was trying to tie up, and I don't know that really any of them got tied up.
Yeah. There's just so much going on at the end. I think I'll go 3.
Okay.
Yeah. In some ways it was good. We kind of know how each character ended up. Like Victoria's ending. But yeah, just too much. Okay, entertainment.
3,
Hmm.
maybe even a 2.5.
Ooh.
I found this book more educational than anything else. Like if I tell someone to read it, I'm going to tell them like because I read this and I feel like I'm a different person having read it.
Mm-hmm.
It was not entertaining when I was doing it, and it wasn't fun. I I think overall like it was good and they were like good messages and I needed to hear it and like being able to read it like that was good,
Mm-hmm.
but not fun.
Yeah, not your beach read.
No.
This is you're stuck in a snowstorm. Outdoors
I had to
bleak.
read this book on my birthday and everyone's like, "What are you reading? Like what are you doing?" I said,
Oh,
"Oh, well, I'm reading this book about racism." And it's like a big downer. That's what it felt like.
oh no.
It felt like there was no hope. It felt bleak.
Until the very end, it just kept getting worse.
Until the end, it got even worse in the end.
Yeah, that's what I said. It kept getting worse. Like until the very
Oh,
end, it stayed that way.
oh, yeah, till the
Hmm.
very end.
Hmm.
Yes. I thought you meant
Yep.
like until the end and then it got
Nope.
better.
Would have been
No,
nice.
no. Mm-mm.
Okay, so you want 3 or 2.5?
I'm gonna go 2.5.
All right. I think I'll go 3 because I did really love the magic system. And for most of it, I enjoyed reading it. Like I liked reading it. It was a very like meandering sort of read
Yeah.
when you have an extra 8 hours in your day to just read a book.
This is spoken like a true academic.
Yeah. I'm just gonna read this whole week.
Yeah.
This one book.
It was, this book was so long, it was nearly gratuitous. That R.F.
Mm.
Kuang thinks that like we have like so much time to just read about like the
Uh,
scones and like even like with the
this-
tower. It's like the same thing would happen again and again. And it's just like, we get it.
hmm. Yeah. And maybe that was part of the point. Academic life takes a lot of you, so repetitive. Racism just keeps going every day. Maybe that's part of it.
I mean, I do think that's part of it. And like I said, like with the Letty, it's like by the time Letty showed back up, I was like, girl, you are not getting it. I am so tired of you.
Yeah.
And so when I was feeling like that, I was like, okay, now I have like more
It
empathy
worked.
for, yeah, I was kind of like, I have more empathy for the gang where I'm like, this is probably how they feel, where they're like, I cannot have this
Yeah.
conversation with you one more time. I can't.
That's probably true. Okay, other miscellaneous.
I'm gonna give her a 5 because, like I said, there's not very many books that I read where I feel like I'm a different person after.
That's a good point.
And I
Hmm.
feel like that's worth something.
That's worth a lot. Yeah, she brings up a lot of really good and important themes.
Yeah.
I think I'll go 2.5, but I'll see how our final score ends up and maybe I'll increase it. All right. What do you think our final score is at?
I hope we're over a 4. I'm thinking we're probably at like a 4.1.
Lower. You gave a lot of twos over there.
Really?
3.75. I kind of
Dang.
feel like it's about right.
Yeah.
Another category that we could add potentially is would you recommend this to a friend? I feel like that's pretty telling.
I would recommend.
Hmm. To every friend? Would it come with a caveat or a disclaimer?
Yes, it would come with the caveat that this is for your personal edification, not your personal enjoyment. Because I do think it's like a very important book. Like I've already recommended it to a few friends because I'm like just kind of
Oh, okay.
curious, like, what is your perspective reading this book?
Yeah.
Like I'm so
Mm-hmm.
curious, like how do other people consume and interpret the book?
Mm-hmm. I think that's a great point. I would also like other people to discuss this with. It's a big ask to read this whole tome.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a good book. I think it brings up important themes. I don't know, but then there's also things at the end where I'm like,
I know.
repetitive. I don't know with the portrayal of Letty. I know we've already talked about it a lot, but like, I feel like some things could have been done better, but maybe that's just
Well,
me. I
there's
don't
like a
know.
line where they're like, "Is there anything we could have done for Letty?" And Robin's like, "No." And I was like, "Dang."
Bummer. Okay.
Like, ouch.
Love that growth mindset.
There's not one thing that could have, there's nothing that could have happened that could have fixed this. And you're like, okay.
Got it.
Got it. I'll
Love
get
that
out of here.
viewpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's things like that where I'm like, I feel like there's another way.
Like,
But
come on, use that big brain. Like there could have been, I think I think the likelihood is low, but I think there was a path for Letty. I do. Even at the end.
hmm yeah, I feel like you have to have that hope that there's always
A
room
path.
for change. Yeah, there's always a path.
There's always a path. And yeah, exactly. I would feel like I would hope that for anyone that like if you could look back in their life and you're like, is there a way that they didn't turn into a monster? I'm like, yeah, I think that there is a path
hmm
to say
Not for
no.
Letty,
Yeah, to say no.
unless you're Letty.
You're like, oh my God. Okay.
She was my best friend. Okay. All right. Well, we basically talked about a lot of things, but there are a few quick questions from the Reddits
Okay.
that I think could be interesting. You don't need to spend a lot of time on them. We'll just see. All right. One
Okay.
question that we haven't talked about is this YA or just A? Young adult or full adult?
What would make it only adult? The murder or
I
like
guess
the
just what does it feel
racism?
like to you? Does it feel like a YA novel or does it feel like an adult novel?
It feels like an adult novel, but I wouldn't say that young adults couldn't read it. Like I wouldn't say that it's
Mm-hmm.
adult because of like sexual content or
Right. Yeah.
like
It's not explicit.
I would say I think you need to be an adult to read it and appreciate it and understand it fully, but like a young adult could read it and also benefit.
hmm I agree with that. I actually didn't even like think about this question, but that was some people's complaints with how she handled some of the themes and stuff. Um, they said that her writing is very grounded in YA, apparently. I don't know.
What?
This is what one person said.
What?
And okay, so all right. So let me read this. It's a few sentences, but I was like, interesting. Okay. So they said Kuang, very smart, but her writing is YA, and that's a problem. This isn't a YA novel. It's marketed as adult fiction, and it begins with a complex story that weaves history and magic and race and gender and privilege together. But then it falls back to YA simplicity. The father could have been complex, but he takes a mustache twirling heel turn. Letty is more complex, but is brought back to accidentally kill her crush in an absolutely nonsensical scene. Like the cops are really going to bring and arm this young woman on their raid? Good point. Because it is the kind of shocking turns that these kinds of novels, YA novels, exist on.
Okay. I just think I think the ending was bad.
Yeah, it's not YA. It just
I think
was
it's,
poorly
yeah,
written,
just,
poorly done.
just, yeah, I just think bad ending. But to say like YA, when I think of YA, I think of something at like a middle school to like ninth grade reading level. I
Hmm.
think of a love triangle. I think of like kind of like characters who aren't like able to like think super critically. I didn't get that from this book. I got the opposite of that. What do you think?
Yeah, I got the opposite of that. Although the only thing from here I was like, kind of good point. So that some of the like themes or characterizations of YA in YA books can be like just more one-dimensional characters. And it did
Yeah.
kind of seem like the characters who were bad, like Letty and Professor Lovell,
Yeah.
were 100% bad. Even though we
Yeah.
kind of got Letty's like insider, thought
Perspective.
process. Right. She ended up just being full villain in the end. And you're like, what?
I feel like it was like two different books nearly. Like the ending to me feels
It
like a
did.
different book than everything else that we were like reading, which
Agreed.
I felt like was really nuanced and like thinking through things and like seeing all the different perspectives. And then by the time you get to the end, they're like, no time for that. Like,
Yes.
good,
We're on the
bad.
right side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You're in, you're
Agreed.
out. So I just think bad ending. Okay.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay.
Okay, actually, maybe we've kind of already talked about everything. One last thing that we haven't talked about. One person thought the silver magic is superfluous. It doesn't change the history and it actually makes the empire weaker than it actually was in real life because it's so dependent on this one thing. So they take away the silver and the whole empire collapses. But I guess it doesn't collapse because apparently this was just a bug bite on
I
the
will
whole
say
system.
that the magic, I like reading a fantasy book.
Hmm.
The magic was so minimal. Like
Hmm.
she made it seem like it was part of everything, but that could have also been explained with like electricity. And, and like a lot of these things, like that's just electricity,
Yeah.
or like that's just the internet. Like that to me doesn't
Yeah.
feel like magic. And then they didn't get to like use it, like hardly at all.
Yeah, it really was not a big part of the actual story. I mean, I guess at the end, that's how they took down Babel. I guess it was a big part of the story, but
I want to see them fighting with the magic. I want to see them healing. I want to see them like if I'm reading like a
yeah,
fantasy book, like that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking
I
for
want it more
like
ingrained.
Robin has like little things and he's like etching them like on the side and like throwing them
Yeah.
and
They couldn't have come up with one to like hide Level's death or something. Like, yeah, I don't know. I felt like there could have been more ingrained magic.
could they have used could they have come up I kept like wondering, are they going to come up with a translation that is going to like open people's eyes or something?
Oh,
Could they like something like that where it's like, okay, that's like a
yeah, you're so right.
fantastical end where we can
Yes.
kind of get a happy ending of sorts, and like it took all of them coming together and like figuring it out. Like that's like what
It
I
took
expect.
magic
Yeah, it took
for
like
people's minds to
magic.
change.
Right. Maybe that's what I didn't like about it, is that this was supposed to be magical and it was just so rooted in reality at the end
Yeah.
there that you're just
Mm.
like womp
Hmm.
womp.
Yeah. That was some other people's critiques. Is they're like, this would be a great textbook. She should just write a textbook. Oh, okay. Actually, I do have one more thing on
Okay.
that came up from the Reddits. The footnotes. Did you like them or did you hate them?
I loved them.
I thought they were so fun. A lot of people hated them.
Boo.
Yeah. They don't have 8 hours to read a book. boring.
The asterisks should have been bigger,
Oh, way bigger.
way bigger. Size 25 font.
Well, then it would have turned into like an 800-page book.
They were like size 2. Like
They, yeah.
if I had a magnifying glass, I still they just turn into like a smudge
Yes.
on the paper. So
Agreed.
no, but I love the footnotes.
I thought they were so fun.
There were so many things where I'm like, I need to go Google this, but
Mm-hmm.
my doll, she had
No
already had
time.
the footnote. She had the
Oh,
footnote for
yeah.
me. I didn't need
Mm-hmm.
to.
That's true. Yeah, I thought you were gonna say Google, like, is that real? Because I Googled that a few times. A lot of it was real.
Oh, a lot. Because it's posited as historical fantasy, but it's really just history.
History.
I was trying to think of like tiny magic, but
Tiny.
like I don't know what that word would be, but it's really just historical
Yeah.
fiction. It's historical fiction is really what it is.
I mean, there's a magic system.
I just feel like it does not, we don't get to see it in anything but boring. Boring. It keeps the lights on. Oh, it made this
You're
like
kidding. Yeah, the ship goes faster
the
now.
ship goes faster.
Your water's
Okay.
clean.
Yeah, like Robin is not flying around. Like we're not Robin doesn't get to use any of it. That's I think what I
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah. They should be carrying those bars around them everywhere. Just all
everywhere.
the time.
Yeah, they should be speed etchers. Have like
Yes. They couldn't make one to like make them feel full or something so they wouldn't need food in the tower. It's got to be
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're just going to starve up there. What kind of magic
Literally,
system
they're
is
in the
this?
tower and they're like, we don't know how to do laundry. We're gonna use a bar to clean our laundry. And I'm like, no, do something cool.
Like useless scholars.
Yes, you're like, oh
Only
my
like
God.
learning about it, not actually doing anything.
They're like all the MBAs, all the fun people at the parties, the marketing people,
Yes.
they're not here in the tower.
Maybe we needed that Peddington guy or whoever. You just
Oh, Sterling?
no, the rich
Oh,
boy.
yes, yes,
He's
him.
like, what are you guys doing? You can make a bar so the wine never runs dry. Would have been way more fun of an ending.
That would have been great.
All right. She didn't ask us, I guess.
All right. Well, we did it.
We finished Babel.
Dear listener, guess how long our document is with our summary?
Oh, I don't even know. 14 pages.
19.
Oh, it's 19? Oh
Like
my
this
gosh.
was work. This was
And
not
it's
a
pretty, yeah, it's pretty stocked. Like there's a few, one-liner quotes and stuff in there, but no,
yeah.
it's mainly full text.
This is full text. We wrote 20 pages on this book.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's as short as we could get it too.
Literally, we were crossing things out.
Yeah. Although I guess if we were to write a summary now, we could make it a lot shorter.
Ugh.
Boy goes to Oxford, makes friends, all friends die. The end.
We didn't even get to talk about Robin being queer. And
Was that a thing? Because she mentioned that in her
yes,
interview. It was so subtle.
I feel like she did
I
not execute that because I was like, oh, is he? Mm? And
It
then
was kind
Rami's
of like a
dead.
question. Yeah. Uh, I don't know. Yeah.
And then like in like his very last moments when he's like thinking of things, he remembers like having a picnic with Rami on like his first day and he's like, I just met you, but I feel like I love you. Like he said something like that, but it was still wasn't like 100% clear was this a romantic love or a friendship love.
Right.
But I think it was a
So
romantic love, having listened to the interview.
that's what it seems like it was supposed to be. But she already had so many themes in there. She could not come fit in another one. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. Could she have done that? Could she have added that in there? Flesh that out a little bit more?
I feel like she could have added it could have just been a couple of lines because like all of the pieces were there and I think like it could have like spurned why Robin was so upset. Like we kind of figured out why he was so upset about Rami dying. That was like his best friend. But even then they had like the tiff right before that where Rami like
That's
wasn't talking
true.
to him. So you're like, were they so
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
We'll
Agreed.
fall back into the pit. We can't do it.
We can't. But yeah, it's a good point. I think that was supposed to be in there and it was so subtle. It's
We
like
needed
it
a
wasn't in there
footnote.
at all. We
We
needed
needed
a
a footnote.
footnote. Yeah, why wasn't there a footnote for that? When we needed you, RF Kuang, you
Okay,
weren't there.
so programming.
Oh, yeah.
Next week,
Oh. Hmm.
we're doing the fairy tale.
Yeah, let's do a fairy tale. We definitely need that.
We need a
We
palate
can maybe do
cleanser.
multiple fairy tales, honestly.
Well, dear listener, you let us know. Chrissy came up with a good idea because so many people rudely ask us to read the book to them. I could not imagine like writing into a podcast being like, why are you reading a book? And you're like, because of copyright laws. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
I know.
It's illegal. Um, but if the book is what? How long does it have to be?
Um,
100 years?
whatever that's called. What is that called?
Free use clause. I made that up.
Public
Domain.
domain. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hmm. After a certain amount of time,
Anyone can
it's
read
all
it.
of ours. Anyone.
Yeah.
Okay, so you pulled up a list of fairy tales that we could read. Should we pick one now or should we kind of dig into it? Because I'm worried maybe we'll pick one and it'll actually be kind of long.
I think maybe we dig into it a little bit, but we can
Okay.
let people know that a fairy tale will be coming next week.
Fairy tale will be coming. And then after that, we've got to do the secret history.
That's what this book was inspired by, right?
We're going to the source material, baby.
Oh, no. Can we take it?
Okay. Okay. So my husband Andrew has been asking me to read this book for like 2 years. And I keep
Wow.
saying, I can only read a book that we're doing on the pod. That's the only time that I have. So we have to do it.
All right, we got to read it. Why have you not wanted to read it on the pod thus far?
It's just like, I feel like we try to read fun books.
Yeah. So now we're gonna do 10 weeks in a row of downers.
That's why we need the palate cleanse.
Yeah. Need a few fairy tales in here.
Okay, so let's look at the secret history. I'm gonna just read a quick little blurb.
Okay.
The Secret History is an inverted detective story narrated by one of 6 students, Richard Pepin, who reflects years later upon the situation that led to the murder of their friend Edmund Bunny Corcoran. The events leading up to the murder are revealed sequentially. Oh, this sounds pretty good. The novel explores the circumstances and lasting effects of Bunny's death on the academically and socially isolated group of classic students of which he was a part of.
Sounds good. I mean, I think it's from what, the 90s or something?
1992, when
Wow.
Columbus sailed the ocean blue. I, I,
Just the same.
when did Columbus, when did Columbus
1492.
1492. I would always, because I was born in 1992.
Yeah.
For years, I was like 1992.
It is kind of a bad mnemonic because a lot of things rhyme with ocean blue.
Yes.
Well, mainly two, I guess. It's a year, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of years that end in two.
But like as a young person, years, like dates are confusing. They're ethereal. 1992
Hmm.
was like an important one because people would say that was
Yeah.
when you were born. I'm like, okay. And then they talk about Christopher Columbus. I was like 92, 92. I was like, same one. That went on for years, like
Got
way
it.
too
Done.
long. Way too long.
History is pretty tricky. I used to think, I know there's one 4th of July. I forget which one. Let's say it's 2010.
Mhm.
And as it was earlier than 2010 because I was younger. But basically, I was like, what America's birthday is this? 2010? Something like that.
Spoken like a true American.
Yeah.
We didn't start counting until America was born.
New calendar. It's the only one that matters now.
Only one. We're here.
Yep.
All
All right. Yeah. So you need our palate cleanser.
right, we're gonna do the palate cleanser. We're gonna do the secret history. The secret history is like it's a very well-known book. I feel like we're gonna like it. 4.2 out of 5 on Goodreads.
4 point. Okay. What does Babel have? We didn't check.
4.1. That's pretty good.
I was gonna say, oh boy, Secret History might be the same. Okay, if we wanted to continue on this trend, she was also inspired by another book that one of my friends highly, highly recommended. But to be honest, it I couldn't read it unless we're reading it for the pod because it's kind of long and the font was really small. But
Oh,
I've heard it's super good, and it's
okay.
called Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clark. And if we wanted to, we could add that to our 15-week Dark Academia marathon.
Oh my God. Okay, this one has a 3.9 on Goodreads.
Okay, they don't know what's good. All right, do you want me to read it? Read the synopsis?
Yeah, let's do
All
it.
right. Um, this is her debut novel, an alternative history set in 19th century England during the Napoleonic Wars. Did I say that right?
Y- Yeah.
Where two rival magicians, the reclusive Mr. Norrell and a daring Jonathan Strange, bring magic back to the world, first
Ooh.
as teacher and pupil, then as rivals, altering history with their different approaches to the art. The book is known for its detailed Victorian style prose, extensive footnotes, and its blend of historical fiction with fantasy, exploring themes of English magic, fairy lore, and the consequences of power.
That sounds interesting. I would put that on the list.
People say it's very good. It's kind of long, though.
I think we put it on the list, but I don't know that we can, like you said, like how many months of this pod can we devote to England?
How many listeners are we willing to lose? We're going down with the ship like Robin. This is it.
That sounds very good. I think we put it on the list, but I think we really gotta lighten the joint up. After Secret History, we really gotta like
Do
the
some fun
Frida
ones.
book. I think we go back to
Frida, we could do
Frida.
another Frida.
Maybe we even go to Sarah J. Maas.
Uh. That one's going down a different slog.
That's kind of a slog too. I know those books only get bigger.
Oh man.
I know.
I'd be
Okay.
down for another Frida.
Yeah.
Always down for another Frida.
A nice little palate cleanse.
Yeah, it
Don't
is.
need to be thinking that hard. I leave the same person that I came in as.
Yes. No big character growth happening here.
Yeah, like no, I have no growth. Maybe negative growth. We don't know.
Maybe. Worth it.
Worth it. Okay, well, this was very enlightening.
Yeah. I can't say it was fun, but it sure was enlightening.
It was
I think we made it
enlightening.
fun. Talking about it with you made it more fun. Reading it by myself would
Yes.
have been very sad.
I'm really glad we were able to talk about it because I had so
Me
many
too.
feelings and I felt really twisted about it. And it was nice being able
Mm-hmm.
to try to untangle it. And I'm going to continue thinking about this book for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. We are changed people.
We are changed people. Okay.
This was
Well, I'll
fun.
see you next time for our fairy
Yeah.
tale.
Woohoo.
Woohoo. All right. Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.